Hey guys, this is Stacy Rossetti. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I look forward to seeing you in all of the podcasts that are coming up. Hey everybody, this is Stacy Rossetti. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again. I have a totally awesome, badass woman real estate investor as a guest today, and I wanted to introduce her, Kim Kasturke.
Thank you, Stacy. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. So tell everybody, where are you located?
So I'm in Marietta, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome. Okay, tell everybody kind of what you work on for the real estate investing world. What's some of the stuff that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been a semi-long distance landlord for the last 15 years. My primary portfolio is in the Augusta, Georgia area, which people who are not too familiar with the geography, Augusta is about 3.5, 4 hours from the Marietta, Georgia area. So I have 18 cash flowing units out in Augusta, Georgia, and I've been self-managing them for the last 15 years. A variety of different strategies on the acquisition side, anything from conventional loans to subject to, and then now I'm working on a couple seller finance deals. So just kind of, hearing about different strategies and implementing them in my own practice and just working on getting better every day.
So tell me, why do you buy in Augusta?
Well, so my original property was in Augusta, Georgia. So I became an accidental landlord in 2006. And so if everybody remembers what happened 2 years later, the economy pretty much tanked. It crashed. And at that time, in addition to the economy going down, I also was transferred from Augusta to Atlanta for a job. And so at that moment, I really had to pivot. It was one of those things that I had to figure out what I was going to do, because at the age of 28, I believe I was 28 at the time, I just simply didn't have the $30,000 that it was going to require to get out of the property. And so that really is what started my investing journey. And I like Augusta for a variety of reasons. That one house really taught me a lot. And number one, I never had a vacancy on that property, maybe a week at a time, but never a full month vacancy. It always rented very, very quickly. And so on top of that, I never really had an eviction because I was getting really good tenants. So a couple of years after I had purchased that property, I kind of thought, well, if this is going really well, maybe if I invest in the same neighborhood or get a duplex or another property, I'll have this similar results. And I got a duplex, and within the first day, I basically closed on the property and I was able to place 2 tenants that day. I mean, luckily, the owner allowed me to market the property before closing, and that really helped. But I was able to place people right away. And again, on that property, never had a vacancy. So to answer your question, there's 3 reasons why I like it. It's got a really good economy, it's a secondary market. And the third is that there's a lot of transient renters coming in and out of the Augusta, Georgia area. So it makes it a very strong rental market.
That's cool. Yeah, that's good. I did not realize that you were here in the Atlanta area, and then also you worked in Augusta, because I have houses that come across all the time in the Augusta area. And I'm like, I try to blast them out and try to find buyers for them. But sometimes it's hard to find, something out in Augusta. So maybe we can work together.
Sure. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So tell me, what are the houses, what properties do you look for now? Is it what would be the perfect property for you?
Yeah, so I've migrated over to duplexes and triplexes.
Okay.
I'd be definitely interested in a quad or even going into more multifamily. The most I personally would do on a multifamily would be 6 to 8 units. That's just personal preference, again, because for the longest time I've been self-managing. Now, this year I actually hired a property manager because I do want to leverage, I do want to scale. And it just made sense for me. But the last 15 years, I've been doing all that management on my own.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, so do you are all of your properties, I guess you started out with single family. Now you have some duplexes and triplexes is what you're saying.
Yep, absolutely. So single family, the first deal. And then I moved to duplexes right away, because the way that I looked at it was one side would pay the mortgage, the other side would be the cash flow. And so that strategy really worked out. And then it built the confidence to start moving into more of the triplexes and the quads. And I've gotten a couple condos out there and, hit or miss. I mean, they've been successful, but those are the ones that I'm actually working on seller financing right now, where I will be the bank and people will then be paying me the mortgage. So it's, again, there's so many really cool strategies in real estate. And if you try everything and try different things, it's really fun to see which strategies bring in the most profit.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, so how do you manage your properties when you're here in the Atlanta area? Like, how do you manage them since they're in Augusta? Give us some ideas about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just have built processes, and over the years, through trial and error, I've been able to build a good team. I've been able to build processes where, a lot of just different things that popped up, I build the process around that. I mean, for example, if a tenant is late on payments, I have a process now that really is it seems rigid, but it definitely works. I mean, so those types of processes I've built so that when things start popping up, it's not so stressful. I know who I need to call. I know how I need to communicate it. I know what I need to do. And so what would take maybe an hour or two trying to scramble around and figure things out, I can do within 10 to 15 minutes because I already know this is my process. This is what I'm going to follow. And this is how I'm going to get it done.
Everything now anyways is like, I mean, you can be totally virtual.
Yeah.
You really can. I mean, the only thing you really need, I would say, is just like a boots on the ground person. If something's broken or whatever, go fix it or, something. It's kind of like with storage facilities. It's the same thing. Like everything we do is real virtual. And then like, if needed, we'll get like a boots on the ground person to go do whatever needs to get done.
Yeah, I mean, and boots on the ground, it doesn't have to be that hard to find. It could be as easy as your handyman.
Yeah.
It could be even a cleaning lady that you use that you could say, I have a gal that I can call up if I need something to be checked on. I can say, hey, could you go over there and just check on that for me, please? And she's happy to do it. And I pay her hourly rate, $20. I mean, that's way more inexpensive than me having to go drive out there for 3 hours, spend an entire day. So, really think about that. And even handymen, for example, pay them their service rate to go out there. I mean, what, $89, $75? I mean, to me, I still think that that's a super fair rate to get some honest feedback, to get eyes on something. And again, you're not having to do the traveling yourself.
And actually, once you start getting to how many properties would you say, okay, now is the time to get a property manager, or now is the time to really kind of run this like a business?
Yeah, well, I probably should have gotten a property manager a lot sooner. I'll be honest with that. But again, my biggest thing was, oh my gosh, I've got to give up 10% of my rents and I still have mortgages to pay and maintenance to pay. So I probably would have done it at more of the 10 unit mark. Some people may want to do it sooner, especially people who have full-time jobs. I mean, I'm still managing a full-time job in addition to that.
Wow.
But one thing I do want to let people know about property managers is you can find people that they're investors themselves. These are property managers that are investors themselves and charge by the door instead of the flat 10%. And that's what I ended up doing. And it was actually a fluke how I ended up meeting the person that I hired, because we both own condos in basically the same lineup. There's 4 on a specific plumbing line. And we had an issue with the plumbing underneath the units where it was affecting all 4 units. And so that's how we ended up meeting each other. And the way that she managed everything, because she was the one that went out and called around to all the plumbers, she was able to negotiate a way better deal than I was able to negotiate with the plumber that I called. And that was really the big eye opener for me, was that there's people out there that know the industry, that are investors, that still property manage. She charges by the door. And on top of that, she's able to negotiate better rates. So I would say, people who are looking for property managers, look for those criteria. The people that charge by the door, invest themselves, because they're going to have a really good team behind them and probably get better rates on the maintenance.
I think, yeah, that's a really good tip. I never even knew that somebody charged by the door. So that's awesome. I think that's
they're out there. They're, diamonds, but you can find them. And I would say Facebook Marketplace, figure out different real estate agents that also invest, because most likely they're managing their properties. And now you got to make sure that they can negotiate those good deals. But at the same time, you can save some money and still get what you need by paying a little less.
Mm-hmm. I would guess that you would probably be able to meet some at like maybe your local RIA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's just in case anybody doesn't know, a RIA is a Real Estate Investors Association. So I highly recommend at least getting involved in that, because then you'll not only will you meet other investors, but you'll meet like everything that you need, like property managers, attorneys, lenders, et cetera. Right. So a RIA is REIA, Real Estate Investors Association. You can just Google it. Okay.
And to build on that, I would actually say your local RIA should be a member of your team. Honestly,
yes.
If you're going to pay a plumber, an HVAC guy, or, all these other people, pay that whatever, $99 a year or whatever the fee is, for have them be on your team, because you'll have access to amazing forums. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a forum and like, hey, how would you deal with this? And just get tons of really awesome answers. So I would throw that in too.
Exactly. Yes, I agree. Make them a part of your team. I like that. That's a good marketing thing. Put that on.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so tell me a little bit about. Are you married? Do you have children? Are you just single?
Yeah. So I have a daughter. She's 7 years old,
okay.
and her dad is super helpful. So I'm very lucky in that regard. But all of this has been what I've done over the past 15 years, juggling a full-time job, being a mom. And again, you got to look at it as small steps, just consistent action daily, or even just consistent action weekly. It all starts building up on top of itself to really get you to a point that you can have financial independence.
So being a woman and having a daughter, kind of just how do you balance your full-time job with your 18 houses that you have, and then also be a mom as well?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, the thing is everything doesn't hit at once, which is nice. I mean, all of it's, in the way that I view it, is a trickle in. So there will be days that I'm really busy with my job and I'm not doing anything real estate related, because I've had processes in place. Even if I was busy with my job and getting stuff done, if I got a text message from a tenant, it was a simple, text message to the contractor that I needed to basically deploy and coordinate the two of them. And then they were off to the races getting it done. So, it wasn't necessarily taking away from my job. And then, when things get busy with my daughter, then, again, the real estate stuff, would trickle in, I could get it done. And then with the job stuff, again, you just got to look at processes. And when you have processes in place, a lot of it's manageable. But I do want to make the big point that you are going to get to a certain point in your portfolio that you have to hire people. You're going to have to hire help. You can't do it all by yourself. And that's really why I hired a property manager this year, because, those slow little trickles coming in on 18 units, that adds up really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. As you grow, I mean, it's just more and more work. And then you just learn how to delegate and get other people to help you do the things that you really don't want to do, honestly. Yeah.
Yep. Because nobody can do it all by themselves. Like I said, I get a lot of help from, my daughter's dad, which that helps. And then, in terms of stuff around the house, you just got to look at it all as building a team. Now, I don't hire out everything. I know there's a lot of people that do, but just look at that as an option. Look where you need the help and just ask for help, because no one can do it all by themselves.
What would you say your biggest skills are? Like I say, if I could, I would do these things and delegate these things off.
Right. So the biggest thing for me would, definitely finding the deals, doing the different processes to execute the deals, talking with sellers, working with just the things that I would do well is, finding the deal, creating the deal, and executing the deal. The other things in terms of the management piece, I could even apply that to finding and, placing tenants as well. Those are the things that I think I can do really, really well. The other things I feel can be delegated. out, your team. Because again, I'm not handy. So I'm not necessarily going to be the person that's going to go and fix anything, which I think that was an advantage early on because I didn't really have the luxury of going and fixing things. I just didn't know how to do it. So automatically I knew I had to hire certain people to do that. And I've kind of just used that mentality throughout my investing journey.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I love that. What's the price range of like the properties that you look for?
Sure. So, I've gotten those condos I was talking about. I've gotten one as low as 18,000, and the highest that I've paid was 155. And the 155 was that property that I got like originally. Everything else I've been able to get duplexes for about 130 out there. Nowadays, because it has been a couple of years and there has been some market appreciation, you're probably looking at about 150. Okay. I was able to get the triplex for 130, but it did require work. That was more of a, buy, renovate, refinance, repeat strategy there, okay. Or BRRRR strategy. But again, there's amazing deals. You just have to look for them.
Everybody wants multifamily now. That's like a big thing, especially small multifamily. That's like the big kind of hot topic now. So can you pick like one of the like let's go over that triplex. Like what were the numbers for that, and like how much work did it need? And then can you tell me that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this particular property, I had gotten a call from a real estate agent that I had worked with a couple times out in Augusta, and I was able to get it for 130,000. But again, there was the way it was set up is there was one gal that was living there. The other 2 units were just unlivable. They needed it pretty much was a full rehab. So, I walked the property with a general contractor. We knew that it would be aggressive estimating 50,000 to do the 2 other units, but it was doable to get them to a safe and clean, basically safe and clean. Now, does it have all the shiny objects and the big wow factor? No, but it looks really nice. But it's just what I'm saying. It's a rental.
What's the monthly rent on those?
Sure. So I've got $849 on the 2-bedroom at the bottom. Okay. $750 on the 1-bedroom on the bottom, and then the top floor has 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And what I ended up doing there was I converted that into a professional rooming house. So I rent that by the room, and awesome. I get $700 each side. So each room I get $700 a month.
That's awesome. Yeah. And
so that's a
very good idea.
So I was really able to take, because what I would have only been able to get in that upstairs unit was probably about $849 for the 2-bedroom. And so I just decided to do something creative, look outside the box and test that strategy, and it worked. Mm-hmm.
And would you consider doing that again?
I would. I think what I would want to do next time is I would have estimated another 25,000 and built that into the loan to provide that wow factor. Because then I would have been able to furnish it, which I furnished this in the upstairs, but I would have been able to furnish it, get that wow factor, and then start marketing it more to traveling nurses, which you can get a lot more with that subsector. It's fun, I just encourage everybody to hear something interesting, really research it, talk to other investors, figure out the strategy, and go try it for yourself. Because real estate can be really fun when you really start learning all the different creative things that you can do.
I agree. It's fun. Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate everything that you did today and you've said, and I will see everybody else on the next video. Bye.